we're going to be watching Why is Wuthering Waves so peak? Let's go ahead and get into it. Come join us on Twitch if you ever have time at twitch.tv/hex_juice, where we go live every day except for Sunday, where we watch Discords, or watch Discords in my movie. Watch movies in my Discord. You can find all of those links down below in the description box. Personal opinion is Wuthering Waves is so peak because Changli, period. That's it. Subscribe.
So remember when I said I played like 7 other gacha games in my other video? So that's gotten worse.
Fun.
Much worse.
Yeah, my personal opinion is, especially as like a normal human, maybe limit it to like 2. How do you even have time to play that many gacha games daily? I don't know, unless you're just not keeping up with your dailies, I guess. But it's like, damn, it's not for me.
So what's so different about this game that makes it so fun in my eyes? Does it have hot women?
Who's the Changli bird now? Changli, 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 Changli. Owa, 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 bark, bark, Changli. Owa, owa, bark, Changli, Changli.
Does it have gambling?
Of course it does. You absolute fool.
Does it have the...
What is this?
That's the sound.
Does it have good combat that actually makes...
I would like a written essay regarding what I was supposed to take from that edit, because I think I know, and I think that's a crazy thing to admit on the internet in a video like that. But yeah, I'd like a 500 minimum word essay explaining what that was supposed to mean. Thank you so much. We'll continue, but this is like strike 1 and 2.
Is it a game?
What is this bit rate? What is happening?
Hibernate.
Actually has all this and more. So if all that interests you, please let me tell you why Wuthering Waves is so peak.
Okay.
So what's so different about this game that I actually make a video about it compared to all the other gacha games I play? Well, in this game, there's gameplay to it.
There's also Changli.
Whoa, the game has a game in it. Ugh. It feels like an RPG style, a game that you could see yourself buying, but it just so happens to be free. I say that because even without optimized builds or the best event characters, you still have to be good at the game to even beat the bosses in this game.
I think that's mostly only true for holograms, to be fair. The Tower of Adversity is equally as level gated and not as skill based as basically any other gacha game. I think this mostly only applies to holograms, but also does to an extent apply to holograms.
It's crazy. There's an actual game with this gacha game, and you winning isn't entirely determined by what character you have. Characters so far feel like
It's still pretty determined by the character you have for the end game content, specifically and very, very much so in Tower of Adversity. But the holograms are very cool.
different playstyles rather than the new must-have character. Although Changli definitely feels like a character I need for different reasons. The combat consists of different meters, like the Concerto meter that allows you to do different moves, or bust a character that you swap to, and the Forte meter, which usually consists of a unique move that a character can do, like the Biden Blast.
Biden
I feel like
Blast.
the animation power creep's gonna be way faster than character power creep. But the game also has...
Oh, dude, the animation power creep is fucking crazy. Let's be for real. The animation power creep with Jinshi and Changli alone was wild.
enemy attacks that you can dodge and get a counterattack out of afterwards. And the best part of the game, parries. Most enemies have attacks that if you attack when the circles overlap, you stun them and break their posture. Once you do break their posture fully, you get to blast them with damage for a bit. And
Except for Morning Aches, where you can't see the fucking circle if you're high enough level on the holograms, which is disgusting bullshit. I hate that boss so bad. I get that Tempest Memphis is technically harder, okay? Memphis, I'm gonna be disrespectful and mispronounce his name. Memphis is technically very much harder and requires more skill. But the fact with that ace doesn't let you even see the parry bar on the higher levels is so gross. I hate that boss so bad.
a lot of these bosses have unique parts to them too. Like Memphis, Tennessee has a ton of parryable attacks, so many that even this shadow clone can be parried. This fucker that
Yeah, but it's got RNG with its attacks, which is pretty miserable. I hate this boss!
flies around like an asshole and has invisible parries at higher difficulties.
I hate
my
him.
personal favorite, the Crownless. He just comes out with fisticuffs ready to smash your skull in with a 200 hit combo.
The punches really, I find very personally offensive. And I know that that is perhaps a melodramatic word to use. The way that Crownless just comes at you with hands pisses me off on a level that, like, I honestly can't really fully put into words. Like, I'm having to use all of the magic and mystical shit, all of the elements of the universe at my disposal, and he's just punching me in the head, trying to crack my skull with his hands, and it pisses me off.
These bosses do have a time limit though, so you need to have the right build to beat them with, which is where gearing comes in. Now, given that I have played 12 other gacha games at least, with most of them having RNG bullshit for gear that makes me want to kill myself every time I get another fucking HP set, or
In Minecraft, of course.
substats that rival the luck of a damn slot machine, this game is a breath of fresh air compared to these games. The game doesn't really stop you from grinding like many other games do, so you can just keep killing enemies to keep getting echoes to eat. And if
I don't know how much logistical and legitimate benefit there is to just endlessly grinding echoes because you can't level them all. Like, okay, yeah, you could technically grind out as many echoes as you can, but like it would be equally as frustrating if you could just get a fuckload of relics and not level any of them until because you were gated by getting level up materials, you know? I think it would be also incredibly frustrating if you could just get relics and not level them until you got the level up materials to do so. Like there is still a gating factor. Do I prefer it over relics and artifacts in Hoyo games? Absolutely yes. But I think that there is less of a benefit than you would think to just endlessly grinding echoes. Is there a benefit? Sure. Is it enough for me to take the time to do it? Absolutely not. And not for most people, I think.
whatever you caught isn't good tasting, you can just smash them together to get a new thing. It's just like cooking. There is still RNG to it, but the fact the game doesn't stop you is a very nice thing. The game gives you the freedom to do. Tuning for substats by rolling.
So you can't fodder echoes in this game only if you've put levels into them, and it still decreases the amount that you get back from having leveled. So if it's level 15, you can fodder it into a new echo, but it'll be like level 13. There's no way to fodder unleveled echoes, and that is a direct like means with which they gate you from continuing to progress and get higher stats.
A D20 and the main stats are still RNG, but you get so many of them you could just swap one for the other, or keep trying to just do some Frankenstein stitching together type of bullshit. My only complaint is that level up materials are quite scarce without wave plates. I've heard other people talk about how after you get guaranteed upgrades like skills and weapon level and focusing on just one team, using your wave plates for this won't be so bad. I'm inclined to agree with them in this regard. So
I think that's fair to say. If you just focus in on one team and manage your resources appropriately, it's not too bad. However, to act like you just get to endlessly grind echoes, because like there's a difference between being able to grind endlessly and there actually being progression attached to that grind. Is there actual like a lot of progression that is attached to the grind of echoes? Not really, because it is very limited how many of them you can actually level.
I'll see how things go in your end game. I'm still in mid game, so we'll see. The open world for this game is quite fun too.
Also, I'll say in Wuthering Waves, to be fair, main stats are really, really important. There's much less of a benefit of picky substats in Wuthering Waves than there is in other gachas. Having the right main stats and having a good weapon with the right characters on your team is much significantly more important than in other games. The substats are, there's a lot more copium substats that you can have because there's like basic attacks, you know, all of that stuff. But you're having the right main stats and stuff is much more valuable and has much more of a benefit to your actual damage than it does in other similar type of gacha games.
Despite the fact that
in my
that's
opinion,
kind of a buzzword nowadays, this open world's actually not too bad. There's a lot of chests around the map, so you can level up characters and weapons, as well as these diamonds that give you echo level up stuff.
Yippee!
Only some though, it's not that much. After a while, if you explore enough, the game just gives you a device to find this stuff around you that you can infinitely use, but you can only have 3 on the map. I feel
yeah, the loot mapper is pretty poggers. I love the loot mapper. I think that is one of the best things that they did to give you the ability to get the loot mapper early into the game. It's not hard to get that loot mapper, and you can use it infinitely without having to craft it. And they gave it a wider range. Bust.
This really solidifies the game respects your time to some degree. All you have to do is play the game a bit, and you get to see the entire map of loot. Some are locked behind enemies and puzzles, but the puzzles aren't usually that hard. Some are cool, like the puzzles where you have to manipulate time, or the Tetris piece ones. There's also stronger enemies around the map, some being absurd levels like 120 when the max character level is 90.
That Light Crusher's an asshole. I just want to say that.
They guarantee a high level echo though, so it's worth it. And technically, they can be beat with a level 1 character. There are plenty of videos on it, because you can do a fixed amount of damage when you dodge, so literally just get good and you'll get it. There's also some silly stuff, like this plastic chair that heals you fully and definitely isn't a reference. Echo challenges, where you can use the powers of an echo to do certain challenges that also reward you, such as playing Star Fox, swimming, and best of all, fixing Tetris, and this mountain that you could just ski off of.
I love Clang Bang. He's so cute. I like this one
awesome.
too. It's fun.
It also gives you a ton of loot.
Onwards.
Yes. Yes. Yes!
There's probably a ton that I missed, but those are the best selling points, other than the characters have really fun kits. Jinchi is probably my favorite.
Changli is my favorite, but before that, my favorite DPS to play was Encore, which means I get to play my most fun 2 characters in the same team, which is very poggers and epic style. Also, the character designs are really nice in my opinion, and the 3D models are really hot, especially for the weapons.
She's mine. You can't have her. Even the 4 stars are really good if you build them right. Like Danchin, that slices herself with her sword, puts blood on her sword, and somehow does more damage doing that. Or this guy with the gun.
Does she not summon the whole sword out of blood? Because she like summons a second sword that she doesn't always have. Is that not her blood? Is that not a full blood sword? I don't know if it really matters. This is like useless to know. I'm just curious. I'm pretty sure the whole sword is blood, which I think is really cool.
There's only like a couple things I could say is bad, like the early story before Mount Firmament. It's just boring. As well as the English voice acting for it. It's awful. It's about Genshin Impact 1.0 level of bad. I heard a well-respected company is taking over for this, and I could tell because the 1.1 voice acting sounds a lot better in English.
Yes,
I would be
very
sticking
much
with
better.
Korean though, since I'm slowly learning it. And that's it. It's a game that's combat focused, and that's why I love it. I almost want to drop $5 on the Lunite description just to support Kuro. Too bad I'm poor and would rather have someone else donate me $5. With that, time to go to my outro that no one gives a damn about. Bye-bye.
I enjoyed this video. I agree with most of the points. I think Wuthering Waves, as far as gacha games go, is about as good as is like the best. Especially if you're somebody that's a gamer who likes to game and doesn't just want to, do silly stuff. Look at pretty girls, look at pretty guys, and spend money and gamble. Like, I think as far as it goes, Wuthering Waves is like the best possible thing you could get from gacha right now. In terms of action-based combat, the combat is very fun, very smooth. I like the parry system. I like that the teams are not too complicated to build, and it allows your skill to show through. I like the character designs. Thus far, the story has only gotten better and better, which is saying something because I don't really like gacha stories. Also, Changli. Ultimately, this video is answered by one single word. Why is Wuthering Waves so peak? Changli, period. That's it. Let me know what you agree or disagree. What are the reasons that you like Wu-Wa specifically? You're not allowed to mention any other games, though. Tell me why you like Wuthering Waves without talking about other games. Don't mention Genshin or HSR or no other gacha games or nothing like that. What do you like about Wu-Wa specifically? I want to hear that. Comment down below. Come join us on Twitch if you have time. Join the Discord for Sunday movie nights. All of that is in the description box down below. I'll see y'all next time. Love yourself, drink water, eat some food. Boo-bye!